12 years ago, a sorcerer named Pratap destroyed Atharva's family. He collected women like objects, wiped their minds, and turned them into obedient followers. Atharva's daughter Arya was one of them. She is still alive, but only in the most technical sense. She cannot speak or move on her own, and she has to be fed and cared for like an infant. All she can do is smile, a permanent, empty smile, frozen on her face by Pratap's curse. Atharva's wife and son died because of that same man. But Pratap is not free. He is chained in a dark room inside Atharva's own house, and he has been there for 12 years. Atharva never killed him, because killing him would have been mercy. Instead, he keeps him alive, feeding him just enough to survive and never enough to be strong. He also cut out Pratap's tongue, so the man can never speak another command as long as he lives. For 12 years, the monster stays locked away and the city stays safe, until the day it doesn't. At an international girls' high school across the city, one student named Kaya spills water on her skirt during lunch and slips out to the restroom. That tiny accident is the only reason she survives the next 5 minutes. Because one by one, the girls in that cafeteria go silent. Within moments, hundreds of teenagers stop talking, stop chewing, and stop moving. The entire room freezes like a photograph. Someone has poisoned the food, but not with chemicals. A man named Rajnath laced their lunch with the ingredients of black magic, and every girl who ate is now his. Whatever he says, they do, instantly and completely, with no ability to refuse. It is exactly what happened to Arya 12 years ago. Only this time, it is not one girl. It is an entire school. Then Rajnath gives his first order. He sends 10 students to the rooftop. At exactly 3 o'clock, or the moment anyone comes near them, they step off the edge. A security guard spots the girls at the edge and runs toward them. That is the trap. His approach is the trigger. One girl goes over the side and 2 more fall as he tries to pull them back. The teachers beg them to stop, but the girls only keep repeating that they are following the orders of a man they call Uncle, a man nobody else can see. Then the clock hits 3, and all 10 of them jump. The case lands on the desk of Detective Keshav, a man with a long career and no framework for any of this. The school is sealed, parents throw themselves at the gates, and the whole country watches it live on television, including Atharva. He is buying groceries when the news reaches him, and he understands immediately what nobody else can. This is not a suicide pact, and it is not a cult. This is exactly what Pratap used to do, which means there is another one. He goes home, walks into the dark room, and asks Pratap straight out whether someone else shares his abilities. And Pratap, tongueless and half-starved, does the only thing he still can. He laughs. That laugh tells Atharva everything. Back at the school, the officers deliver more bad news. Every security camera on campus went dark before the incident. There is no footage, no face, no uncle. And then one of the frozen students stands up. Her name is Tirtha, and she walks straight to Detective Keshav like a machine running a program. She has a message. The police must find a man named Pratap. If they fail, the city will suffer, and it will only get worse. The 10 girls on the roof were not the end. They were the introduction. Keshav presses for details, but Tirtha physically cannot say a word about the man controlling her, and she has no idea who Pratap even is. She delivered the message. Her job is done. Then the city breaks. Nearly 50 students pour out of the school gates at once, following commands nobody else can hear. They attack police officers, walk into traffic, assault strangers, and set fires. There is no hesitation and no fear because there is nobody home behind their eyes. Innocent people die in the street, killed by teenage girls who will not remember any of it. Inside the school, around 150 more girls sit motionless, waiting for their turn. Keshav has photos of the school uniform circulated, so any student found outside can be detained on site. But he knows he is not solving anything. He is just counting bodies. Meanwhile, Atharva is preparing. He realizes something crucial. This new sorcerer works the same way Pratap worked. He controls people through spoken commands. His power travels through sound. So Atharva buys a set of large industrial speakers and installs them throughout his villa. He does not explain why to anyone. He just builds his weapon quietly, the way a man does when he has spent 12 years imagining this exact moment. Then he chains Pratap tighter and drives to the school. Inside the cafeteria, the parents shake their daughters and beg them to respond. The girls calmly push them away and sit back down as if nothing happened. Then Tirtha stands up with a new message. The police have 5 minutes to produce Pratap. That is when Atharva walks in and announces that he knows exactly where Pratap is. He lays out the truth in front of everyone. Pratap has been his prisoner for years. The girls belong to a man named Rajnath, and Rajnath is not doing this for money or power. He is doing it because he enjoys it. He feeds on misery, and the more broken his victims become, the happier he gets. Atharva knows all of this because a man exactly like Rajnath destroyed his family. Then he makes his demand. He will not tell anyone where Pratap is. Rajnath will have to come out and face him personally. And a voice answers from the corner of the room. Rajnath has been standing there the entire time, watching and enjoying every second. He steps into the light, and he admits without hesitation that all of this is his work. Then he explains the rules. If anyone harms him, even slightly, every girl under his control will kill whoever did it and then turn that violence on herself. And he wants to prove it, so he slaps Tirtha for forgetting part of her message, has another student hand her a knife, and commands her to punish herself. She obeys instantly. Then he adds one more condition just to be cruel. If anyone touches her or tries to stop her, she keeps going. Her parents rush forward, and every attempt to save her only forces her to hurt herself again. Detective Kashav decides he has seen enough. One bullet ends this, but Rajnath planned for that hours ago. He planted a student in the room with one instruction, to watch the detective and strike the moment he reaches for his weapon. Keshav's hand moves toward his holster, and the girl is on him before anyone can shout. She stabs him repeatedly, takes his pistol, and hands it to another student who knows how to use it. Rajnath then orders that student to aim at her own parents. And with that, the adults are finished. The police, the teachers, and the parents all walk out because there is no version of this fight they can win. Anyone who resists is only killing children. Now it is just the two of them. Rajnath, more curious than angry, asks how a man like Atharva ever crossed paths with Pratap. Atharva tells him, 12 years ago, Pratap cursed his daughter and destroyed his family, and Atharva has kept him chained in a locked room ever since, and that is when the truth lands. Pratap is Rajnath's older brother, the man who taught him everything he knows. For a moment, Rajnath cannot process it. In his mind, his brother was untouchable, far more powerful than Rajnath could ever hope to be. The idea that an ordinary man defeated him and has been quietly torturing him for over a decade does not fit inside his understanding of the world, but he recovers fast. He may not have his brother's talent, he says, but he is far more ruthless, and he threatens to kill more students unless Atharva cooperates. Atharva does not flinch. Fear is the currency and panic is the reward, and he simply refuses to pay, which leaves Rajnath trapped. He cannot kill Atharva because Atharva is the only path to his brother. He can order every girl in the building to tear the man apart, and it still will not produce a location. He has all the power in the room and none of the leverage. So Atharva offers a deal. He will take Rajnath to Pratap on one condition. Arya must be freed. Rajnath explodes. To show what he thinks of conditions, he kills a student for the crime of sneezing, ordering her to simply stop breathing. Atharva does not move. He turns toward the door and says he will go home and kill Pratap instead. And Rajnath stops him because he has to. He agrees and orders the principal to prepare 2 buses. Every adult in the building is locked inside the classrooms, and anyone who interferes is responsible for what happens to the girls. His only concessions are that the buses can be tracked by GPS, and that once his business with Atharva is done, the students go free the next morning. On the drive, Rajnath spots one of his brainwashed students still rampaging through the streets and orders her onto the bus. But he is coughing badly, and the command comes out slurred and unclear. The girl does not obey. She runs. It is a small thing, almost nothing, but it plants a seed. Rajnath spends the rest of the trip circling the question eating him alive. How does an ordinary man defeat Pratap? Atharva tells him to wait and see his brother for himself. Then Atharva asks his own question. Why start looking now, after all this time? Years ago, Rajnath explains, Pratap left to spend 2.5 years in isolation, deepening his power. When the time passed and his brother never came back, Rajnath started searching. Eventually, he risked visiting Pratap's temple himself, but the temple had already fallen. Atharva destroyed it 12 years earlier. For a decade, Rajnath found nothing. Then about 2 years ago, he became convinced his brother was alive and trapped somewhere. Pratap had always warned him never to draw attention to their powers, and Rajnath finally decided to ignore that advice completely. That is what the school was. Not revenge and not chaos for its own sake. It was bait. A crisis loud enough that anyone connected to Pratap would be forced to step forward. And it worked perfectly. Atharva asked one last question. Why women? Rajnath answers by casually ordering a student to throw herself off the moving bus. Then he explains. According to the ancient text the brothers follow, women hold the greatest power of all, the power to shape and direct the actions of everyone around them. The brothers have spent their lives trying to prove that text wrong. Every curse and every stolen mind is an argument, and black magic is how they win it. The buses reach the villa. Rajnath posts students around the property as guards and takes the rest inside. But before Atharva shows him Pratap, he takes him to Arya, and Rajnath is genuinely moved, not by pity, but by admiration. 12 years, and the girl can still do nothing but smile. To him, she is not a victim. She is a masterpiece, proof of how far above him his brother stood. Then the door to the dark room opens. And whatever Rajnath expected, this is not it. The most powerful man he has ever known is a starved, filthy, broken thing chained in the dark. Rajnath looks at Atharva and understands that he is standing next to someone more ruthless than either brother ever managed to be, which is exactly why he does not kill him. Instead, he becomes fascinated. From the second they met, this man has shown no fear and no weakness. And Rajnath has never seen that before. So he agrees to help. Then he explains the difference between the brothers. His own control is cheap and temporary, and the students will recover within 24 hours as long as they stay away from him. Pratap's magic is another species entirely. His curses last years, sometimes a lifetime. He asks whether Arya ever received anything from Pratap directly. Atharva remembers the candy Pratap once gave her, but Rajnath dismisses it. Candy is a delivery method for short-term control, the same trick used on the cafeteria food. It could never hold a mind for 12 years, so Atharva digs further back and remembers something so small he had buried it completely. A coffee stall years ago. He was short on change, and Pratap, a stranger at the time, quietly covered the last 10 rupees for him. Rajnath goes cold. The curse was never placed on Arya at all. It was placed on that debt, and the only way to break it is for Atharva to return that exact coin to Pratap's hand. Not a different coin. That one. Atharva tears his house apart, digging through boxes and forgotten drawers, until somehow he finds it. There is one last condition. Pratap has to be fully conscious when he receives it. The coin changes hands, and after 12 years, Arya opens her eyes. She sees her father for the first time in over a decade and breaks down in his arms. But those tears turn to fury the moment she sees the man chained to the wall, the man who stole her childhood, her mother, and her brother. Then Atharva hands Rajnath the keys and lets him free his brother. And the moment the restraints come off Pratap's mouth, everything changes, because Rajnath finally sees it. His brother has no tongue, the teacher he crossed a country to find, the man who was supposed to hand him decades of hidden knowledge, cannot speak. Everything Rajnath came for is gone forever. The fascination dies instantly. Rajnath attacks and picks his revenge in the same breath. He will take Arya and do to her exactly what his brother did, and this time nobody will save her. But Atharva has been waiting for this exact second since the day he bought those speakers. He hits the switch. The villa erupts with a high-frequency shriek that fills every room and hallway. The girls clutch their heads, the sound is unbearable, and more importantly, it is total. Rajnath screams his commands into it, and not one of them lands because not one of them can be heard. For the first time, the puppeteer has no strings, and that is all Atharva needs. One strike to the head, and Rajnath drops. When he wakes up, he is chained in the dark room. The same wall, and the same 12 years of misery his brother has been living, now waiting for him. And Atharva makes one final decision. Rajnath's tongue comes out too. Outside, the city comes back to life. Just as Rajnath said, the influence fades after 24 hours, and one by one the girls wake up with no memory of what their hands have done. The truth never reaches the public. It is too strange to believe, and telling it would help nobody. Atharva explains himself only once, to the principal and Detective Keshav. No prison sentence could balance this, and no execution could come close. Too many people are dead, including his own wife and son, and forgiveness was never on the table. In the end, he sits beside his daughter, and for the first time in 12 years, she sits back, awake and fully herself. And somewhere beneath that quiet house, in a room with no light and no way out, two brothers scream into the darkness, and nobody is ever coming for them. So the moral of the story is, never accept random candy, random lunch, or even a random 10 rupee loan from a creepy wizard, because somehow that can ruin the next 12 years of your life.